I don't know what to say about the Indiana Fever front office right now, man, because they absolutely just signed another guard that's about 5'9". Just signed another guard that's about 5'9", dog. The backup for the backup for the backup. Hey, all you can do is laugh, y'all. I'm sorry, man. All I
Just take one look at that roster. 5 guards standing under 6 feet tall 5. The Indiana Fever just added yet another undersized guard, while teams like the Las Vegas Aces are loading up with Olympians, and the Phoenix Mercury are bringing real proven talent into training camp. So naturally, everyone is asking the same question. What exactly are they doing? Because the facts are clear. The Fever were swept in the opening round last season, and their biggest flaw was impossible to ignore. They got bullied in the paint. Opponents attacked the rim whenever they wanted and scored with ease inside. Aaliyah Boston was left with virtually no support at the center position, carrying the interior almost by herself. And after seeing all of that, their answer this offseason was to sign another 5-foot-something guard.
Kara Dunn, Shea Shesky, Yarden Garzon. Like, these are some hoopers, fam. And y'all remember me talking about Shea Shesky in the other video. Only thing about her, she's small and can't really handle the trap like that. But, man, you can work on that. You can work on her playmaking. Ah, man. And then I'm looking at Connecticut. They got beers over there. Hold my beer, right? Then they brought back Harmony Turner, who I was raving about. Man, this is...
That comparison sounds harsh, but it's hard to deny how accurate it is. Just look at what the other contenders are doing. The Phoenix Mercury brought in Kara Dunn, Shah Shessi, and Yarden Gars for training camp players with proven experience, size, and real skill sets. Connecticut brought back Harmony Turner and added meaningful depth to strengthen the roster. Those teams are attacking their real weaknesses and making moves with purpose. Meanwhile, the Fever keeps stockpiling point guards like they're building a collection instead of a balanced team. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, Raven Johnson, and now another guard cut from the same mold. That trend is concerning because it raises serious questions about whether the front office truly understands what this roster actually needs.
And also, I want to talk about the Aces a little bit. Asia Wilson, $5 million, 3-year deal. Woo. Talk about getting paid. I see the money falling out her pocket, man. My goodness. We got to get all the way into it. But before we do that, y'all make sure y'all hit the like and hype for your boy if you like the content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 39.9. So if you can help me with that, I highly appreciate it. And don't forget to get in the comment section and let me know what y'all think about this one. Let's get it. All right, fam, let's jump to the scene. Shams dropped the news on ESPN, dog. Asia Wilson, the WNBA's first ever 4-time MVP, is signing a 3-year,
$5 million over 3 years. That's the new WNBA record, and Aja Wilson has earned every dollar of it. A 4-time MVP, 2-time champion, and currently the most dominant force in the league, she remains the centerpiece of everything the Las Vegas Aces are building. But they didn't just re-sign their superstar, they strengthened an already dangerous roster around her. Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young are still in place, giving them 3 Olympians with championship experience. Then, they added Tamara Young on a training camp deal. Young was Chicago's top performer in 2024, an all-star level guard who can attack downhill, break pressure defenses, and handle traps better than most point guards in the league, while bringing a toughness few players can match. The only concern has ever been consistency in temperament, but if she stays mentally focused, the Aces just became even more threatening. And what should scare the rest of the league even more is that they also drafted Janiyah Barker, a high upside talent who now gets to grow under elite championship coaching. The Aces are building a dynasty, while other franchises are still trying to understand basic roster construction.
She can get downhill. She's quick, agile. She actually attacks the hard hedges and traps kind of better than a lot of the point guards in the league. A lot of them like to turn their backs to the trap. And I always say, man, just, step back a little bit. Make sure you keep an eye on where your teammates are. And then you can really just dump it to the closest player and then let the ball start moving, let the defense start scrambling, right? That's what I like about Kennedy. She has so much confidence in her dribble, and she'll step back and she'll face that trap coming and actually pay attention to what the offense is looking like. I mean, fam, she'll even dribble around that trap. That's how much confidence she had 3 and 4. I wouldn't necessarily want to use her at the 5. I know she's 6'4", but I would try to use her like an Atlanta Smith. Although Atlanta Smith is better at defense, in my opinion. But, yeah, you'll want to keep Passat out of the 5 position. Let her be at the 3 and 4. So who is coming in at the 5? That's the biggest question, man. We need somebody to...
This is the clear difference between championship-level thinking and whatever direction the Fever seem to be taking. Tamara Young attacks hard hedges and traps with total confidence. She doesn't panic or turn her back to pressure like many guards do. Instead, she creates space, keeps her head up, reads the floor, and makes the correct decision. That's advanced point guard play, the kind that impacts winning. Now, compare that to Indiana's approach. They keep piling up undersized guards while ignoring the most obvious roster flaw. They need size. They need a true backup center who can give Aaliyah Boston valuable rest minutes without getting exposed defensively. They need a bigger wing who can guard multiple positions and bring versatility. Instead, they're running it back with the same structural weaknesses that got them swept out of the playoffs. Even the training camp signings reveal the bigger picture. Other teams are adding players who solve specific problems. The Fever are adding more of what they already have too much of.
I think they'll have a discussion and iron it out if there's any awkwardness between the two. But I was able to look at the quick clip of the interview you guys were talking about. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out the correlation with Iowa fans from what she said. She didn't necessarily put an identity on what she stated. I can see how it can get misconstrued. But when you think about it, I was having a discussion with William. And I was like, fam, you know, if you have a kicker that miss a game-winning kick, the fans of that team are the ones that's going to be pissed. I've seen stories where they get death threats, right? And I'm like, it doesn't make sense for the opposite team to send death threats or be racist towards that kicker. They'll be happy that you miss, right? They'll be celebratory towards you miss.
A 6'1" player at center. Just think about that for a moment. If the Fever head into next season with a 6'1" backup center, they're not just going to struggle, they're going to get completely exposed. Every team in the league will target that matchup again and again. Damiris Dantas is a talented and skilled player, but she's a stretch 4, not a true rim protector. Indiana needs someone who can battle in the paint, defend the rim, and give Aaliyah Boston the interior support she desperately needs. Instead, they keep collecting guards who play the same role and offer similar strengths. This isn't just questionable roster construction, it's genuinely concerning. Either the front office is missing what everyone else can clearly see, or they know something about the current roster that hasn't been made public. Are they preparing for injuries? Planning a trade? Because right now, the moves simply don't add up. Another important part of this situation is Aaliyah Boston addressing the Raven Johnson storyline directly. When South Carolina beat Iowa in the Final Four, Johnson was the defensive irritant who made life difficult for Caitlin Clark. Yes, Clark still scored 40 points, but Johnson forced her to earn every bucket. Now they're teammates, and according to Boston, they've already talked things through. They cleared the air because that's what professionals do. Fans may hold grudges, but players understand it's basketball. Johnson was doing her job at South Carolina, and now she's doing her job in Indiana. But what Boston said next matters most. Fans often have more beef than the players themselves. Think about that. Fans create rivalries, drama, and narratives that often don't truly exist. The players move forward because they understand the game better than anyone.
Now, I did see news about Kennedy Carter coming back. Yes, Kennedy Carter, y'all. Back in the league and on the Aces. Now, it's not a full sign. It's just a training camp contract. So, yeah, even if that's the case, I think she's making the team. Now, this is a player that was an all-star in 2024, in my opinion. Didn't make the team, but she was an all-star. She was the best player on that Chicago team. Only thing that I question is her mentality. How is she gelling with the Aces, right? Is she calm now? How is her mindset, man? Is she able to control her temper? That's the
This is where the conversation becomes interesting. Can people honestly analyze a player's weaknesses without instantly being labeled haters? Because that's what real scouting is. That's how talent gets evaluated at every level. In a job interview, you're asked about your weaknesses, not to tear you down, but to assess where growth is needed. The same applies in basketball. Raven Johnson is an elite defender. She's quick, aggressive, and has a strong understanding of angles, positioning, and how to disrupt opponents. But offensively, her game still needs refinement. She isn't yet a reliable three-point shooter, and her handle can become shaky against top-tier pressure. Those aren't insults, they're scouting observations. The Fever coaching staff already understands that, which is why she'll likely begin in a bench role. The bigger question is whether Indiana truly needed another defense-first guard when they already have multiple players with a similar profile. Wouldn't a bigger 3 and D-wing make more sense? Wouldn't a backup center who can actually protect the rim solve a far more urgent problem? Intro 7. Let's break down what's really happening here. The Las Vegas Aces are operating on a completely different level than much of the league. They identified their championship core, locked up their superstar with the richest contract in WNBA history, and then added targeted pieces to fill clear roles. Tamara Young gives them another ball handler who can create offense, attack closeouts, and steady possessions. Janiyah Barker gives them a young, high-upside talent who can develop inside a winning culture. They also kept their 3 Olympians together, preserving chemistry and elite experience. That is, textbook roster construction from a franchise that understands how to build and sustain a dynasty. Meanwhile, the Fever are making moves that feel more like panic than strategy. It's almost as if last season's playoff sweep pushed them into overreacting in the wrong areas. They got dominated inside, yet responded by signing another undersized guard. That doesn't solve the issue, it avoids it. And that's often the difference between true contenders and pretenders. Championship teams identify weaknesses and fix them. Pretenders convince themselves those weaknesses don't matter or can be overcome with the same formula that already failed. The Aces are correcting problems. The Fever are adding more of what didn't work. Look at the contrast in front office thinking. The Aces gave A'ja Wilson $5 million over 3 years because she is a 4-time MVP who controls both ends of the floor. That's an investment in sustained greatness. The Fever, meanwhile, are making low-risk minimum salary moves that still don't address their core structural flaws. Other franchises are also being intentional. The Mercury are bringing in legitimate talent to compete for training camp spots, players who could realistically earn minutes and contribute. Connecticut brought back Harmony Turner, a player with genuine upside who could grow into a reliable rotation piece. The Sun are balancing the future while staying competitive in the present. Indiana, by comparison, feels stuck in an awkward middle ground. They are not fully rebuilding, but they also are not making the aggressive moves required to truly contend. And the size issue cannot be overstated. The Fever need a legitimate backup center. They need a wing with size who can defend multiple positions. They need length, versatility, and lineup flexibility. Instead, they keep adding small guards who often need the ball in their hands to maximize their value. How many point guards can you realistically play at once? How do you stagger minutes when several players need touches to be effective? The Aces understood A'ja Wilson needed more support, so they gave her support. They didn't simply run back the same formula, they diagnosed weaknesses and improved them. Indiana had an entire offseason to solve its interior depth problem, and instead may have made it worse by overcrowding the backcourt. This isn't about hating on the Fever. It's about evaluating roster construction honestly and asking whether these moves make basketball sense. Right now, they don't, unless a trade is coming or bigger plans remain unannounced. If not, This current direction does not look like a championship path. So the real question for Fever fans is simple. Do you trust this front office to build a contender around Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston? Because the Aces are showing the blueprint. Pay your superstar, surround her with talent, and make strategic additions that solve specific needs. That's how dynasties are built. The Fever appear to be doing the opposite, adding depth where they already have depth while ignoring glaring holes elsewhere. And if they enter next season with the same structural weaknesses that got them swept in the first round, they risk wasting another valuable year of Caitlin Clark's rookie contract window. Championship windows do not stay open forever. Ask the hard questions now, make the tough decisions, and build a roster that can truly compete, or keep stacking small guards and hope the outcome changes this time. Indiana's choice.